crunch time, right? It's crunch time. We've all worked very hard for this, and we wanted to make this stop. It was going to be just a quickie and a great group of people, but these are our very close friends, so we wanted to stop. We're going over to Cedar Rapids right now. In fact, I just learned we can't fly in, so we're driving in. So I'll get the hell out of here fast. Is that okay? But it's going to, no. We're going to take the best care. But I want to thank everybody for being here. It's been such an amazing experience. First of all, Iowa is a great place. It's a great state with just the most fantastic people. And I must say, win, lose, or draw, I love you folks all. I love you all. It's been the kind of crowds we've gotten, the kind of reception we've had, and but tonight, it really is. It's crunch time. All of this work, it's all about this. I put up my own money. I self-funded. In fact, I see all these guys, they get money from all these other people. Many of the people I know, not good people, some good people, but many of them are not good people, meaning they worry about themselves. They don't worry about the country. And with me, I want to just do what's right. I've done great in the country. Fortunately, I can do that. I'm allowed to say, hey, I love this country. I love the people of this country. It's time we had somebody that makes proper decisions, because we have people that don't know what they're doing. Whether you look at the Iran deal, it's incredible. When you look at the Iran deal, when you look at any deal, look at the trade deals, you don't see that as often. It's not as obvious. But what these other countries are doing to us, they're just cleaning our clock. And I've had it with it. I've had it. And that's why I said, somebody said, he's angry. And I said, I'm supposed to say, oh, no, I'm not angry. I am angry. I'm angry that we're being, and you're angry too. And the cover of Time magazine has it. They literally put it down where they are very, very, and they have it. You have to read the story, by the way. It is such an incredible story as to what's happened with this whole thing, with the movement and with the people, and it's just like one of the great stories. And they were saying, and very strongly, is he angry? And I said to myself, I'm supposed to say no, but actually I am angry. But I won't be angry for long, because if we win, I will straighten it out so fast, and we'll do it together, but we'll have it straightened out so fast, because our people are absolutely incredible people. We have the best of everything. We have the best place on earth, and we're going to make it good again. I put out a tweet this morning. I said, we're going to take back our country. This is when we start. This is day one. We're going to take back our country from these incompetent politicians that don't know what they're doing. It's true. They don't know what they're doing, and if they did know what they did, and I will tell you, some of it's worse than what you think about not knowing. Many times they do things that you say, oh, they're not very smart, they can't be doing this, they have to be totally incompetent. The truth is, they do things for people that give them the money. They're doing things for their special interests and for their fundraisers and for all of these people, many of whom I know. I look at some of the lists and I laugh. I look at some of the money put up to all of them. I don't want to use names, but I will, okay? No, I'm looking at the money put up by Ted Cruz, for Ted Cruz. It's incredible, the people there. It's controlled. And he will destroy your ethanol business 100%. 100%. And look, I'm not really blaming him, because he's financed by oil people. The oil people don't want ethanol. It's very simple. Especially now, because with the prices going down, the last thing they need is more competition. So the oil people are funding him, and they don't want ethanol. Your ethanol business, if Ted Cruz gets in, will be wiped out within 6 months to a year. It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. And as you know, the ethanol folks, like Trump, I've been consistent, I've been solid, and I'm a supporter, and I always will be a supporter. And I view it differently. I view it, the more energy we can have. We never want to be in a position like we've been in over the last many years. And we're just now starting to come out of it, but all of a sudden production's going to go down, prices are going to go up, you're going to end up with the monopoly again. It's just not going to happen. So just remember that. I've been for you. And the ethanol folks, the people that are representing you, have given me the absolute highest accolades all over the place. So, and the governor. Your governor. Your governor said you can't put Ted Cruz in because he's going to destroy the ethanol business. I had no idea how many jobs it means for Iowa. That's a major industry in Iowa. So you have to remember that. Now, I had a debate that I wasn't treated properly on. So what I did is I said, you know, you have to treat properly. You have to treat people properly. And I wasn't treated properly. And that's okay. I mean, I've been there before, right? But what I did is I said, I'm going to have a little event, not a competing event, and it wasn't a big deal, and I had no idea how well it was going to turn out. So we had a 700-seat theater about 5 minutes away from where the debate was, and we had it for veterans. We had an event for veterans. And at that event, thank you. And the sad part is, if I was in that debate, it didn't do very well. It had 12 million people. The one that I was in, the first one, had almost 25 million people, and that was an all-time record in the history of cable television. And honestly, if we had, and very importantly, if I was there, we would have broken that record. But much more importantly, by not doing it, we have to defend ourselves and we have to defend our country. If you have a president, you have to have a president that's going to defend your country more so than even himself or herself. I mean, has to happen. So I had a competing event, and we did it for veterans, because the veterans in this country have been treated so horribly. They've been treated so badly. And we raised in 1 hour, listen to this one, $6 million, okay? And I'm not going to talk about polls today because, frankly, the polls today we have our ultimate poll, so I don't have to talk about polls. But the one that just came out in New Hampshire has us way, way up because of the debate, because of what I did. People respected that we don't take the stuff from people that, you know, shouldn't be treating us that way, and they respected it. And I think they also liked the fact that we didn't just not do it. We did something that benefits so many people, and in this case, the great veterans and veterans causes. And so we've given away, I raised six. I have so many friends. Carl Icahn, who you don't know, but he's a great businessman. He put up $500,000. Phil Ruffin, a great businessman from Las Vegas, put up $1 million. The great Ike Perlmutter and Laurie Perlmutter, they put up $1 million. Marvel Entertainment, what they did is incredible. The Marvel, you know, they make all the great movies. I think he's got 5 of the top 10 grossing movies of all time. He's one of the great people, and they are an amazing couple. And they put up $1 million, and I put up $1 million. And the bottom line is 1 hour, $6 million. And that evening was so beautiful. We had a veteran that came in, lost his leg, and he gave a speech, a talk, and about coming back and how tough it was to come back from the Middle East and all of a sudden be in society again, and how difficult it was and how difficult it is for veterans generally. And we have today one of our first recipients, Americans for Independent Living. And we have Arnold and Tim, and they're here now to pick up a check for $100,000. It's one, we're going to give about 22 or 24 checks out, and they've all been vetted. The vets have been vetted, because what we've done is we want to make sure that these people that get these checks are amazing people, amazing people. And Arnold and Tim, if you come up, we're going to give you a nice, beautiful check. And they've done an incredible job. No, you get in the middle. I don't want to be in the middle. So come on over here. Maybe say, just give a couple of minutes worth of what do you do, because I know, but they don't know. Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Tim with Americans for Independent Living, a new organization here in the Waterloo area. We're here to help our veterans that have returned home since 9/11 that have suffered major disabilities. And we're looking to do the home modifications as much as we can to help them out that way, so they can make a house a home like the rest of us live in, and enjoy life instead of struggling with the challenges that they've come up with, and protecting us and giving us our right to do what we do. So this is what we're here for. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you in the White House. He said, we'll see you in the White House. That's nice. I like him. No, these people are amazing. I mean, they devote their lives to it. And we were very careful because, you have some people that don't do as good a job, and we say, let somebody else help them. But some of the people that we're giving this money to, they're incredible people. And such an honor to be in a country with people like this. And they really care. I mean, that's what they want. They want to help people. And so we're very happy to be able to help them. Also, I have a couple of special people I'm going to introduce because I see them standing in the back wings. My wife, Melania, who's been so supportive. Come on up, honey. So supportive. Come on, honey. And my daughter, thank you. Look at her. And my daughter, Ivanka, and her husband, Jared. Come on up. And Jared's a very successful man from New York. He's done a fantastic job, creates a lot of housing for people and real estate. And Ivanka's Ivanka. We know Ivanka, right? And she's going to have a baby perhaps in 10 minutes or a week or 2 weeks or something, but we're ready. You know the joke. It's been going on around. I said, please have your baby in Iowa. I would not lose this. It's no way I could lose. We're all prepared. We even have a place picked out, but, perhaps that won't happen. But I just want to thank you all for being here. Ivanka, you want to say a word for a second? Come on.
It has been such a pleasure to be here for the last several days with my father, going around and meeting the amazing people of Iowa. The reception has been so warm, and I think that's in part because my father's really created a movement. With all of your help, people want to see change, and he's going to effectuate that change. It's been what he's done his whole life. So my father will undoubtedly make America great again, and we appreciate your support. So come out tonight, 7 o'clock in caucus for Donald J. Trump. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, honey. Thank you, folks. Okay, thanks for that. Oh, nice family is always the best thing. You know that, right? People say I talk on success, and no, but it's true. I talk so much on success where they ask me, would you make a speech on success? I give a lot of money to charity talking about success, and we get these big crowds, and people say, what is it like? I say, let me tell you, the most important thing is family. It's really true. I've seen the most successful people in the world. I deal with them. Some of them are giving me money for the vets. But I deal with them all the time, and they have tremendous money, and they've done a tremendous job, and they put working lots of jobs, lots of education for families, and hospitalization, and all sorts of things. But when you have great family life, you have a wife and family that you love, or you have a husband that you love with your family, it's honestly, those are the people that I see that are the most successful people. Some of the people that have made this vast sum of money have, and not all, but some of them are actually not happy at all. And so when you say, who's the successful person? Somebody that's really happy because of the family and because of whatever, and or somebody that's made, billions of dollars and does not feel so great about themselves and is always wanting more. It's like an interesting thing, but the happiest people I've seen are the people with the great family life. And by the way, believing in God, so important. And I've seen that so much, so important. And I have to tell you, I've been in Iowa now for a long time. We've made many trips here, many stops, and I've gotten to know many people. The evangelicals have been unbelievable to Donald Trump. They have been unbelievable. Boy, do they understand me. They understand me better than anybody. I said that this morning to somebody. I said, I think the evangelicals really do get me. But we're going to protect so many things. We're going to protect our country. We're going to protect Christianity. Christianity is under siege, folks. It's under siege. And we're going to protect it. And Jerry Falwell was here yesterday. Jerry Falwell Jr., who's an amazing guy. He built with his father Liberty University. And I was there 2 weeks ago, and we set a record in terms of attendance. But he's seen everybody come through Liberty because each one of the candidates automatically, it's like an automatic stop. And I guess every single candidate went through. And when he endorsed me, As a person, he endorsed me. That was one of the great compliments that I could have had, because he knows them all. He sees them all. Not an easy thing for him to do. He doesn't do that. I think this is the first time. So when he came out and did that, to me, that was a great compliment. And I think it had a huge impact, frankly, because our numbers with evangelicals, they were good before, but they went shooting through the roof. So a combination of Jerry and Sarah Palin, who is a terrific person and a terrific woman, she came out and endorsed us, and that was so nice and so great. And I think that had an impact. And on the border, who's better than Sheriff Joe of Arizona? Right? You know, all of these people are fighting and fighting and fighting and trying to say they're the right. It's very interesting, because we're going to have a lot of things. We're going to do things that have not been done. I mean, we're going to build that wall. It's going to be a beautiful, big, strong, powerful wall. And people are going to come through, but they're going to come through legally. Legally. They're coming through the wall legally. And that's the way it is. And it's going to be a great thing, and it's going to be wonderful to have a border. We're going to have a border, and we are going to, you know who's paying for the wall. Mexico's paying for the wall, okay? I won't put you through the exit. Who's paying for the wall? Everybody knows, and they're going to. And the other candidates come up, and they say, why is Mexico paying? How can you do that? They're not going to pay for the wall. I say, of course they are. They make so much money off the United States in terms of trade deficits and trade. The numbers are astronomical. I'm not even including the drug traffic, which probably triples it. The drugs come over, so we get the drugs, they get the cash. This is the way. They have trucks. They drive right over there. You ever see the walls where they have a wall this high and they build a little ramp? I don't even know why they build a ramp. They just bulldoze it and just drive straight. You don't need a ramp. I don't know why they do that. I guess they don't want to hurt the wall. But they build a ramp, and they have Jeeps, and they have these vehicles driving right over. It's the most incredible. I think it was in Time magazine, a picture of these vehicles driving over, loaded up with drugs, and we get the drugs. And you look at some places like New Hampshire, our next stop is New Hampshire. They have a drug problem that you wouldn't believe, and you wouldn't think of that for New Hampshire. It all comes from that southern border, and they have an amazing problem up there in many of the New England states, but, I mean, our country as a whole. So they come up, and they come pouring across, and they come back with the cash. We're going to stop it, because this wall's not going to be a wall you're going to drive over. See that ceiling? That ceiling's peanuts compared to what we're talking about, okay? This is a real wall. This is a wall, if they ever get up there, they're not coming down, because they're going to say, wow, it's a problem. And I get a kick out of these people say, they come out and they say the walls don't work. Walls don't work. I mean, the walls they build don't work. You ever see these things? They're like making it out of paper mache. No, this is the real deal, okay? This is going to be, I know exactly what it's going to look like already. That's what I do. I really build good. Wouldn't it be nice to have a real builder? What I do best in life is build. I built these buildings that are so great. Whether you look, no matter where you look, whether you go to Chicago or New York or anywhere. I mean, right now we have buildings going up all over the world. Doing this is actually tough because I love what I do so much. But with Ivanka, Don, Eric, my executives, I have great executives. I built a great, great company, a powerful company, very low debt, tremendous cash flow. I would have never believed it 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Tremendous cash flow, some of the greatest assets in the world. And then I filed the papers, and everyone said, wow, because I'm a private company. They said, he's much bigger than anyone ever understood. And I've got rave reviews on it from a financial standpoint, and I say it not in a braggadocious way. That's the kind of thinking we need in this country, because we have people that don't know what they're doing. We have people that don't know what they're doing. We have $19 trillion. $1 trillion? Most people don't even know what it means to say $1 trillion. This wasn't a word that was in the vocabulary 10 years ago. And now we have $19 trillion worth of debt, when you think of that. Now, the budget they just approved 2 weeks ago, which I don't know. I mean, a lot of you are shaking your heads. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Thing got done in like two days. Not even 2 days. It was like a few hours. Most people didn't even know they were talking about a budget. And that budget funds everything for Obama. Obama's a terrible negotiator, except when it comes to negotiating against the Republicans. You ever notice? And I'm not angry. I'm not even angry. You give up with this stuff. Obama, who cares? I'm not angry at the Democrats because we understand where they're coming from. I'm angry at the Republicans because the Republicans roll over and they just allow all of this stuff to take place. And then they talk about, we're going to try and balance our budget in 25 years. 25 years? Why 25 years? We're getting rid of a lot of things. As an example, Common Core is dead. It's gone. Common Core is gone. Our Second Amendment, we are going to fight so that is not going to be chipped away at. You know, they're chipping away at your Second Amendment. And pretty soon, if it's up to some people, you won't have a Second Amendment. You know, a couple of things have happened, pretty big things, I'll tell you. Paris, remember California, same thing. Not as great from the standpoint we lost 14 great American people in Paris. What happened there, what happened in California, just think of this. Gun-free zones, Paris is one of the absolute toughest places in the world to get a gun. One of the absolute toughest. France is like said to be the toughest country. You can't get a gun unless you're a bad guy. What happened is they walk in and they start shooting people. If, like, a few of you people were in that room and you had guns strapped to your ankle or your waist, and the bullets were flying in the opposite direction, there wouldn't have been 130 people killed. By the way, 130 killed, many, many, many right now in a hospital, so gravely injured that they're not going to make it, and if they do make it, it's not going to be a pleasant life, okay? Because there was absolutely, they could have stayed there longer and kept shooting. But they were just saying, you over, boom, you over, boom. These are animals. These are animals. And then the press called them masterminds, the mastermind. They're not masterminds, they're animals. And we have to stop it. We have to be so tough. We have to be so vigilant. We can't allow this to happen to our country. So in California, 14 people dead, numerous people in the hospital, horribly injured. 14, these are people that gave wedding parties for the people. They knew them. They knew them. And they walk into the room and they started shooting. So we have to be tough, we have to be vigilant, we can't allow it to happen, and we have to protect our Second Amendment. If they had in California guns, not many, just if a couple of people that knew how to use them were in that room, it would have ended long before the 14th person, I can tell you that. And it's so sad. I mean, you have another case, which is just absolutely crazy. You have military bases. And you have gun-free zones on military bases. And we had 5 great young people killed, military people. 2 of them were world champions. One was supposed to be one of the great experts on guns, a great shot, great marksman. And their guns were 200 yards away, locked up, because they had a gun-free zone. And this wacko comes in, sees these 5 guys, shoots them, kills them. Now, these were tough guys. These were guys that couldn't have been, if they were having a gun, he wouldn't have lasted. He would not have gotten near the front door. I mean, one of them, they say, is one of the best. But they were all great soldiers. They weren't allowed to have a gun. Now, they're supposed to protect us, and they use guns, and that's how they protect us, and yet we have gun-free zones. I will end gun-free zones on military bases so fast your head will spin. It'll be the first day. The first day. So they're chipping away at your faith. They're chipping away. I mean, the words Merry Christmas. You're going to say Merry Christmas a lot. Believe me, folks. You know, you go now to a store. You go to a department store like Macy's, a very disloyal company. You go to, it's true. First time when I went out, it's so true. I went out and I gave the opening remarks. I had a nice little thing in Macy's, not big stuff, ties, shirts. I make the opening remarks talking about illegal immigration. And they were told they're going to have a couple of pickets in front of Macy's. And what they did is they said, they called, what are we going to do? These are people I knew very well. Not a big business, but I said, what's the big deal? They'll picket for 20 minutes and then they want to go to lunch. It's not going to be who cares? They said, but this would be bad. In the meantime, you know, they paid all sorts of penalties and fines for non-inclusion and lots of other things, okay? But they terminated, so they're very disloyal. I will never forget Macy's, because I would have never thought that was possible. And they did it over illegal immigration. Then it turned out 2 weeks, by the way, would we be selling right now shirts and ties and perfumes, and you can get them elsewhere, by the way. Go get them elsewhere. I never liked those stores very much anyway. But if you think about it, you know, the country's about loyalty. You want loyalty in the country. So I mentioned during that speech illegal immigration, and all hell broke loose, right? I took heat. Rush Limbaugh, who's an amazing guy. Drudge, an amazing guy. You know Drudge? He's like one of the great people. He's a powerhouse. But I'll tell you, Rush said, I've never seen anybody take more incoming than Donald Trump for saying something that was right. 2 weeks later, everyone's trying to pivot to me. They're all trying to come and talk about illegal. We wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration if I didn't bring it up at that opening day, June 16th. Now it's a long time ago, hard to believe. Here we are, first day, but June 16th. We wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration. Now they're all trying to come on board. And the funny thing, my wife said to me the other day, darling, he just said wall. One of the candidates, I won't even say who, what difference does it make? But one of the candidates said, we will build a wall. You know the way they talk? They don't really talk, they like, everything's always like a debate. They're talking to a reporter, we will build a wall. I actually said about Ted, who's a nice guy, I said, he's a good debater, but he's a bad talker. Does that make sense? We will build a wall. And my wife said to me, that's the first time I've heard anyone say they're going to build a wall. Nobody ever said, did you hear anybody say they're going to build a wall other than Trump? And when we get Sheriff Joe, that really is, that really validates what I'm saying. But we have to build a wall, because without a wall, we don't have a country. People are pouring through our border and all over. It's like a sieve. It's like water just pouring right through. And then Obama issues an executive order, and he said, let them come in. And amazingly, the courts, at least temporarily, have stopped him. But it doesn't matter, because if I get in, that'll be the first executive order I end, is that executive order. We won't have to waste our money on lawyers. We're not going to have to waste our money on lawyers. So just a few things, and then we're going to have a big day. And look, the big thing is you got to get out, you got to caucus. I mean, another poll just came out, Quinnipiac, very good poll. We're actually higher than even the Des Moines Register Bloomberg, which came out yesterday. I guess there we were 5 or 6 points. Now I think we're 7 points up in Quinnipiac. But it all doesn't matter, because I hear they all have these great ground games. They got people pouring in buses and trucks, and they're spending all of this money that they're given by the special interests and the lobbyists, and they're spending, and they have unlimited money for that. And so do I, frankly. I mean, so far I'm very proud of something. I've spent less money than anybody else, and I have the best result. I'm number one. It's great, right? And that's what I want to do for our country. I mean, a guy like Bush, he spent $100 million and he's down at the bottom. Now, he spent $100 million. For our country, I want the person that's going to spend the least and get the best result. Right now it's Norway. Well, right now in education, it's Norway, Sweden, Denmark, China. These are all great places for education, right? We're number 28. In other words, we're toward the bottom of the pack. We have literally nations that you wouldn't believe ahead of us. They're like third world nations ahead of us in education. And yet we spend more money per pupil than anybody else by far. Second place doesn't even exist. It's so far behind. So we spend more money. That's like Jeb Bush. We spend more money and we have a bad result. We're going to spend less money. We're going to bring it back locally. You're going to take over. It's going to be so beautiful. And, I've seen it. I've watched it, because over the years I've watched it. I've seen parents that really joined their school boards and joined their whole little circle of friends to make a school beautiful and good. And their sons and daughters graduate, and they stay on, and they love it. They love it. They do it with love and with intelligence, by the way, but they do it with love instead of having the bureaucrats from Washington running schools in Iowa, which is ridiculous. So someday, we're going to, if I get in, I'm telling you, we're going to spend less money and we're going to have much better results, not only in education, on everything else. You look at the military. We have a military that's being decimated. It's being decimated. And the money we spend tremendous amounts of money, but it's being decimated. But we're protecting so many countries. We protect Germany. Nobody even knows that. Does anyone know we're protecting Germany? The money, it's a behemoth. It's an economic behemoth. Of course, it's been hurt very badly when your wonderful Angela Merkel allowed millions of people to pour into that country that nobody knows where they're from, where they are. And as I left this morning, I saw something very interesting. In Sweden, they had gangs of people in masks and others, Swedish people, that were going after the migrants because there's been tremendous crime committed. And they've had enough, they've had enough. They've had enough of the stupidity. And these people, I believe in protecting people, but you build a safe zone. I was the first one to say it. Build a big, fat, beautiful safe zone someplace in Syria where you can, where you can have it, right? And you build it and but you get the Gulf states. The Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, before the oil came down, but they're still doing very well. Cost them less to take out oil than any place else. But Saudi Arabia was making $1 billion a day. And we protect them for nothing. It's going to all change, folks. It's going to all change. We spend so much money. Everyone says, oh, well, we spend 10 times more than every other country or any other country, and even more than that. But you know what we do? We spend it all protecting, we spend so much of it protecting other countries. And in some cases, those other countries are economic behemoths, like Germany, like Japan, like South Korea. We protect South Korea. And I have friends, by the way, love the people of Germany, love the people of Japan, love the people of South Korea. I have buildings in South Korea. It's a very great place. But we have 28,000 soldiers, 28,000 on our line. We have 28,000. Think of it. We get like peanuts. So we're protecting them. And try ordering a television set. Just give it a shot. Made in the USA. There is no such thing. No such animal. They're all made in South Korea. And a little bit Japan because of Sony. But they're all made, most of them made in, I order thousands and thousands of televisions a year. And they're all made in South Korea. I'd love to buy here. I would love to buy here. But you can't buy here. So we're going to have them, and this isn't like anything other than, hey folks, you got to take care of us. This is a two-way street. This is not a one-way street. We protect all these people. Every time this madman starts talking nuclear, we immediately send our ships, and we don't get it. They pay us nothing. They pay us peanuts compared to what it's costing us. So what are we doing it for? Do you know that we have a pact with Japan that if Japan is attacked, we have to go to war. We go to war right away. We're going to protect Japan. Okay. But if we're attacked, Japan doesn't have to do anything. Okay. That's the way we have. In other words, if somebody attacks us, Japan doesn't have to do a thing. But if Japan is attacked, we have to immediately come to their defense, go to war, do whatever's necessary. It's just not fair. It's not even a question of not fair. It's not smart. It's not good. And they don't even respect us for it. Because they say, can you believe, I can just see these people, they say, can you believe how stupid they are? Who would make deals like this? And we have many of them. So we protect Germany, we protect Saudi Arabia, we protect different places in the Middle East. These Gulf states aren't putting up any money toward the migrants. And by the way, I have a big heart. I want to take care. But they're not coming into this country because we don't know who they are. There's no way of finding out who they are. They have no papers, no documentation. They could be ISIS. And you look at those migration lines, you look at that great migration, have you ever seen so many people? It's like one of the lines trying to get into our event the other night when we had it the other night for the veterans. It was, I mean, literally, it was so, we could have filled up that arena. We could have filled it up 10 times over. It was the most incredible thing. But when you look at that migration, so many people. And what's the story? So many young, strong men. Young, strong men. And you say, what's going on? This doesn't look right. I mean, there's something wrong here. So we're not going to allow them. And if I win, they have to go back. They're going to have to go back because we cannot allow our country to be riddled with problems any more than we already have. We have a tremendous immigration problem. We have so many different problems. We don't know where these people come from. We're never going to be able to find out where they come from. It could be the great Trojan horse of all time. They're going to have to go back. We're going to try and get the Gulf states. I tell you what, I'll put a lot of pressure on them because I don't want to spend our money. I want a safe zone, but I don't want to spend a lot of money on it because we don't have a lot of money. That's why we should have never given the money back to Iran, the $150 billion. We should have told them, I'm sorry, we don't have it. We don't have it. Sorry, folks. And we should have never, ever started that negotiation until we got our prisoners back. To go through that whole negotiation, and you watch, that's going to lead to a lot of bad things because we essentially paid $150 billion to get our prisoners back. That's going to lead to a lot of bad things. So I just want to say tonight is so important. This is the beginning of taking our country back. It's going to be an amazing period of time. We're going to all remember each other. I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember the crowds and the unbelievable positive. I mean, people love this country so much. Somebody asked me before, one of the reporters called and they said, what have you learned? I said, I learned how much people love our country. They love our country. It's incredible. When I see what goes on, it's just incredible. When I see when we have 21,000 people in Dallas and we have so many, I mean, the crowds are so incredible. We have 35,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. A couple of weeks ago, we had 20,000 people in Oklahoma. And now we're leading all the polls, and we're leading Iowa, but it doesn't mean anything. You got to go out tonight and caucus. I mean, you people are all fans, and you're fans of ourselves. But tonight, you have to go out and caucus, and it looks like the snowstorm is not going to be hitting us until sometime fairly late, like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe even not even till the next day. And so that's really good, because they all say the more people that go out, the better we're going to do. And I don't say me, I say we, because it is we. It's a movement. It's we. So you've got to go out. I kid when I say if you're in bed, if you're sick, if you can't walk, if the doctor says you cannot leave, I don't care. Get out of bed and come. You got to do it. You got to do it. So hopefully tonight we're going to have the beginning of what is going to be, in a certain way, a very positive revolution. I mean, this will be a very, very positive revolution. We're going to take our country back, and we are going to make America great again. And I love you all, and thank you all. Special people, thank you all. Appreciate it. I'll sign some. Thank you.
You didn't, frankly, have the balls to put country before party.